Well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So I just have to say that I love that even when we still have to have these very small bar mitzvah services because of COVID, that still the dudes are hanging out in their own section. That's so funny. So
it's almost like there's this invisible sign.
So welcome. We are so delighted you could be here this morning. So for those of you who don't know, I'm Rabbi Amy and this is Rabbi Michael. And we're just so glad that you're able to be here with us today celebrating Shabbat and of course celebrating the bar mitzvah of Elijah Enger. So Elijah was supposed to become bar mitzvah back in August, and he was pretty well prepared when we realized that, in fact, that couldn't happen. So we pushed it off to March and hoped that things would be better. And they're a little bit better. They're not quite where we like them to be. But still, we're just so glad that we're at least able to be in this space together and to have those of you who are able to be present here. And I know that many family and friends are watching from home. And so we're so happy to know that you can be joining us. Now, one of the challenging things about becoming a bar mitzvah during COVID, and there are a lot of challenging things, is that because we really are not going to be able to share the bima with you, it means that Elijah very much is pretty much rabbi for the day. But if there's anyone who I think can handle that responsibility, it would be Elijah Enger. So, Rabbi Michael, any last words of wisdom before we begin?
Let's get it started.
Awesome. So we are going to start. How about maybe we'll just do a little bit of singing just to get you guys feeling ready for this. So if you'd like to turn to page 172. And even this morning when we sing, if you wish to sing along, you are welcome to. We're going to ask that you maybe not sing too loud or with too much voice because we are trying to still protect ourselves even beyond the masks, but we'll join in the singing of Ma Tovu. Ma Tovu Alecha Yaakov, Alecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma Tovu Alecha Yaakov, Alecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Va'ani berov chastecha avo veitecha eshtachave elecha kodshecha beyiratecha. Ma tovu alecha Yaakov, Alecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. So it is now our honor to invite forward our bar mitzvah to lead us in this morning's service. Ya'amod Eliyahu ben Yamin ben Michael David.
Shabbat Shalom. Our service begins on page 170 in the Blue Prayer Book. May my life be one link in a chain of goodness. As I say the prayers of my ancestors, help me to recall their devotion and faithfulness, their joy and suffering, which are in every word. Holiness is my heritage. May I be worthy of it. May our tradition live in me and pass from me to generations I shall never know. Enriched by the truth that I have found and the good deeds I have done, so may I fulfill my task on earth and receive my blessing. And when the service ends and the prayers are ceased, help me bring their spirit into the world in which I live. May I love God above all and my neighbor as myself, and be a living witness to the truth that never changes. Please turn to page 195 and rise for the call to worship. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamevorach Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Hamevorach Leolam Vayed Hamevorach Hamevorach Leolam Vayed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Yotzer or urei choshev Osei shalom urei et hakol Hameir la'aretz v'ladarim Aleha barachamim Uvtuvo machadesh bekol Yom tamid ma'aseh verishit Ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai Kulam bechochma asita mela ha'aretz kinyanecha Tit barach Adonai Eloheinu Al shevach ma'aseh yadecha Ve'al me'orei or she'asita yefa'arucha Selah Or chadash al Tzion ta'ir v'nizke kulanu mehira le'oro Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer Hamarot. The world is sunlight, restoring the soul, rejoicing the heart, bringing light to the eyes, more welcome than gold, a Torah from heaven. I have no light to give the morning. My Torah, my special human gift, is words. As I bring my words forth from silence, welcome them, you who redeems the sun from darkness. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer Hamarot. We join in singing the Shema at the top of page 200. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vayed. Please be seated. Ve'afta et Adonai Elohecha be'kol levavcha u'v'kol nafshecha u'v'kol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'elech asher anochi metzvacha hayom alevavecha ve'shinatam levanecha ve'dibarta ba'am b'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kunecha u'kshartam leot al yadecha ve'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'isharecha Leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim le'elochem Ani Adonai Elochechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim v'hiyot lechem le'elohim Ani Adonai Elochechem. Sing the song of men and women, joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished. a gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content. Her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. Please turn to page 205 and rise for the tefillah. Adonai, sefai taftivta ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, El Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanara, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, Umivigula Lishnei Bneihem, Leman Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Hozer U'Moshiach U'Magin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Piasrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atah Rav Le'Hoshia, Mechaker Hayim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Baal Gevurot, Umidom Elach, Melech Memit Umechaye, Umatmia Yeshua, Vene'eman Ata Lecha Hayo Hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye HaKol. You're the open door that beckons me in. Peeking around the doorframe, I begin to enter into your glory. You move me forward, O Eternal, to step beyond self-made boundaries, lift my foot over the threshold that I might abide with you. In the house of the Eternal, I found my questions, waiting to be posed. They fill me with wonder. Stay with me, Eternal Teacher. Encourage my seeking, as I fill my hours with your mitzvot, so shall I be filled. Send me through your door, stretching up to honor your name, sharing outless wonder, enriching myself in the giving. Nekadesh Shimcha ba'olam, Keshem shemakdishim oto bishmiro, kakatuv al neviecha, vekara ze el ze v'amar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sevaot, Melo kol haaretz, Kevodo, Adir, Adirenu, Adonai, Adonenu ma'adir, Shimcha b'kol haaretz, Baruch Kevod Adonai, Mimkomo. Echad hu Eloheinu, hu Avinu, hu Malkeinu, hu Moshienu vehu Yashmienu, Berachama le'enei kol chai. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai Yitzion, Ledor vador, Hallelujah. Ledor vador nagid gad lecha, Onatzak nakdish kedusha ha nakdish, Veshimcha Eloheinu, mepinu lo yamush leolam vayed. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
Please be seated. So we take just a few moments now and we offer a prayer for peace with the words of Sim Shalom. Sim, sim, sim shalom, sim, sim, sim shalom, sim, sim, sim shalom, tova uveracha. Yada da 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 da. Yada da 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 da. Yada da 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 da. Yada da yada da da.
So I just want to first give chizuk, give strength to Elijah for having taken on the tremendous solo flight as a first part of the journey. And he has done exceptionally well, and I want to encourage you to take us all the way home. And I'll get to the whole idea of what home is right now. So in case any of you are unfamiliar with all the amazing things that Elijah is doing and presenting, I'll explain it as briefly as possible. Elijah is taking us on a history of the universe, according to the Jewish understanding of the cosmos. And he's taken us through prayers of creation and prayers of the ancestors, prayers that discuss slavery in Egypt and the crossing of the Red Sea. And for a while, we'll have been spent our time wandering in the desert, and now here to teach us the law, here to bring us exactly what the story is for the week, the Parsha, will be Moses. Will be coming down this mountain after receiving the Torah, and he's going to explain to us exactly what the Torah, what he'll be reading in the scrolls, and what he thinks the teaching will be. So we'll have experienced the phenomenon of creation, revelation, and then to take it all home, he'll be reading us prayers of redemption. And with that, we will conclude our service. But now, we stand in the desert on the foot of Mount Sinai, and we take a moment to refer to our great teacher, Elijah, or in the case of the service, Moses, our teacher.
Now, we know that usually at this point in the service, this is a time where we get to do a few rituals that today will look a little bit different. So usually this would be the time when Rabbi Michael and I would take out the Torah and we would pass it through the generations of Elijah's family. Again, since we're not getting too close today, we're going to do that a little bit different, and we're going to have Jack, who's going to help us take the Torah from the ark, because he's done this before and we think he can handle it. And he is going to pass it through the generations of his family, but really symbolically, even though we're so lucky to be able to have Elijah's grandparents here today, we know that to be able to pass it for each of you, that we're still not quite safe enough to be ready to do that. So it's a symbolic passing, but today it'll just come from your parents to you. And then Elijah is going to be able to read to us everything he's learned. So if I can, I'd like to ask you all to please rise, and we will have Jack come and take the Torah from the ark. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu la'ar kodsho. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu la'ar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romamu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romamu. Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah. Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah. Udevar Adonai Mirushalayim. Baruch shenatan Torah Torah. Baruch shenatan Torah Torah. Le'amo Yisrael b'kedusha Adonai hagedula v'gevura v'tiferet v'hanetz
Yes, this is your part. Right, we take it
It's upside down.
Kiho b'shamayim u'baretz Kiho b'shamayim u'baretz L'cha Adonai ha'mamlacha v'minaseh l'chol rosh. Beautifully done. Please be seated, everyone.
Yes, sir. Oh yeah, this thing. Baruch hu Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'elam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'elam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah. Amen. Vayitena Moshe kachaloto ladaberito bachar Sinai shene luho ha'edu luho even ketuvim be'etz ba'Elohim vayar ha'am ki voshesh Moshe laredet min ha'har vayikahel ha'am Aharon vayomru elav kum Asilanu Elohim Asher Yelhu Lefanenu Kizeh Moshe Ha'ish Asher Ha'alayu Me'eretz Mitzrayim Lo Yadanu Mehayalo Vayomer Alehem Aharon Parku Nizmei Hazahav Asher Be'oznei Neshechem Benechem Uvnotechem Vehaviu Elai Vayiparku Kol Ha'am Et Nizmei Hazahav Asher Be'oznehem Vehaviu Al Aharon Vayikach Me'adam Vayatzar Oto Becheret Vayasehu Egel Masecha Vayomeru Ele Elohecha Yisrael Asher Ha'elucha Meretz Mitzrayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam Asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan betochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah. Amen.
So it's your tradition now to lift the Torah scroll so you all can see what Elijah just read. So I'll ask you to please rise as Mark lifts the scroll first.
V'zo ha'Torah asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. This is the torch Moses placed before the people of Israel. God's word to the hand of Moses.
Beautiful. Please be seated.
Just place it on. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bahar b'nviim tovim v'ratzah v'devrihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah u'Moshe avdo Yisrael amo uvinviei ha'emet v'tzedek. Vayehi Yamim Rabim Udvadanai Haya El Eliyahu Bashana Hashlishi Lemor Lech Hera'e El Ahav Vet Net Matar Al Pnei Ha'adama Vayelech Eliyahu Lehera'ot El Ahav Veraha'av Hazak Beshomrom Vayikra Ahav Elovadyahu Asher Al Habayit Ve'ovadyahu Hayayare Et Adonai Meod Vayehi Becharit Izevel Et Nevi Adonai Vayikach Ovadyahu Mei Nevim Vayachabi'em Chamishim Ish Bama'ara Vahilak Lam Lechem Vayamayim Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzor kol haolamim tzadik bekol hadorot ha'el hane'eman ha'omer ve'oseh hamdaber umkayem shekol devarav emet v'tzedek al haTorah Ve'al ha'avodah, ve'al ha'nevi'im, ve'al ve'yom ha'shabbat hazeh. Shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu, likdusha v'limnucha, lechavod ol tifaret, al ha'kol Adonai Eloheinu, enachnu modim lach, umvarchim otah, Yitbarach Shimhai, Befi Kohai, Tamid Leolam Vayed, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Good morning. Hello, everybody. For those of you who are able to join me in person on this special day, thank you for being here with me for my bar mitzvah. I was originally supposed to have my bar mitzvah in August last year. But with COVID, we rescheduled it to today in hopes that things would be more under control and I'd be able to have more people here to celebrate this milestone moment for me. In Judaism, becoming a bar mitzvah is a significant moment in a boy's life, where he is recognized as an adult within the Jewish community. Unfortunately, even the best plans sometimes don't work out, and many people who are very important to me weren't able to be here in person. But I want you to know how important you are to me, and you're all with me in spirit even though you couldn't physically be here in temple with me today. Today, I read the Torah portion Ki Teitzei. In my Torah portion, a number of rather important things take place. My Torah portion is within the book of Exodus, so it takes place as Moses is leading the Israelites out of slavery in Egypt on their way to the land of Israel. At the beginning of the portion, God commands Moses for the Jewish people to observe the Sabbath. After God declared the importance of the Sabbath to Moses was given the Ten Commandments to bring back to the Jewish people. My Torah portion references the Ten Commandments as a pact. The first of the Ten Commandments is, I am the Lord, thy God. Thou shalt have no other gods but me. But since it took Moses a long time to return, the Jewish people were growing impatient. They didn't know if Moses was going to come back. They began worshiping other gods and false idols. And God saw all this happening. God instructed Moses that the Israelites must observe only one God and that they should atone for their sins. The Israelites then fell into three groups. The first group purposely chose to worship false gods, and ultimately they were punished by being murdered. Others recognized the error they committed and corrected their ways. They were ultimately forgiven. And the last group were people who might have been swept up by those around them and had to really think about what was right and what was wrong. The idea of forgiveness is what I see as the most important moral from my Torah portion. We are all human, we all make mistakes, we all go astray from time to time. But when given the opportunity to correct ourselves or to demonstrate that our faith and our actions are all in the right places, we're forgiving. We should forgive others. Right now, our nation is in a similar place to where the Israelites were in my Torah portion. There are some people who are worshiping false gods. There are some people whose actions aren't following the laws of the land. just like some Israelites weren't following the laws God gave to Moses. I hope in time we'll see many of these people come around and return to living as a nation of laws, just as many of the Israelites did. And for those who do, they should be forgiven. For those who continue along with their misguided ways as a nation of laws, like in my Torah portion, they should pay the consequences for their actions. Not only did many important events in Judaism take place in my Torah portion, I think they relate to what we're seeing going on in our country right now. We need laws we should all be expected to live by and to hold each other accountable for. For those who own up to their mistakes, they should be forgiven. For those who don't, they should be punished. I want to thank my dad for helping me as I prepared for this important day and for taking me all over St. Louis for my baseball and soccer practices and games. I want to thank my mom for all your love and support to get me through the process and knowing I always have your love and encouragement no matter what challenge I'm facing. And Mom and Dad, I want to thank you both for always being willing to forgive me when I make mistakes. You set a good example for Jack and me. And Jack, I want to thank you for always being there for me as my big brother. While sometimes we might argue and we might not always get along, we've always been there for each other, and we always will be in the future. I also want to tell my Aunt Sydney, I know how much you wanted to be here with me today, but I understand that the circumstances are beyond anyone's control, and I look forward to celebrating with you when we can. I also would like to thank Grandma, Grandpa, and Grandma for being here with me today. Having you here with me today adds to the specialness of the day. I wish that Papa could be here too, but I know that he is currently watching me from above while he's fishing in one hand and a beer in the other. Rabbi Michael and Rabbi Amy, thank you for your guidance along the way and for helping me write my speech. And Adele, thanks for all the work you have done helping me learn the prayers in my Torah portion. I hope we'll all keep in mind the importance of forgiveness as we look to heal the divides within our country. Thank you.
It's short. Very well done. Very, very well done. You can relax now. And thank you. You led a beautiful service. You never cease to amaze me, and today was no different than any other day. Getting here was neither easy nor smooth. You put in a lot of hard work to prepare, and you had to come over the extraordinary obstacles the pandemic has caused. Not only did it force you to reschedule the date, but you also had many of your lessons over Zoom or FaceTime. Couple that with starting at a new school, making new friends, going to school in a hybrid model. You've had an awful lot to contend with over this past year, and you've done it all beautifully. Today you read beautifully from the Torah, the portion Ki Tetzei. There are a couple of different translations of the words Ki Tetzei. One translation is one way of being with others. You shared your insights about the importance of forgiveness in the way we live our lives. You really captured the meaning of living life ethically and compassionately to others. Another meaning of the words Ki Tetzei is when you go out, meaning movement from place to place, or it could be more metaphorical as you move from place to place in your life. Your journey as you prepared for today followed some of the storylines of your Torah portion. Just as the Israelites didn't know what was delaying Moses' return from Mount Sinai, you too faced delays in getting to today. The Israelites had to demonstrate perseverance and resiliency through difficult times, just as you did in your preparations. So it's my hope for you as you continue to grow up, as you continue to mature, and as you progress through your life, that you're able to continue what Mom and I have witnessed in you over the course of this past year, that you know how and when to dig deep and draw on the resiliency when you need it, because none of the important things in life come easily or without obstacles to overcome, and that you continue living your life to the highest of ethical standards, treating others with compassion, just as you talked about in your speech. Elijah, when you got accepted to Burroughs, I told Mom, I can't wait to see how high Elijah will soar. I look forward to continuing watching you take flight. Congratulations, and relax now.
Hi. Okay,
So I'm going to start the same way that I started with your brother. I won't embarrass you, and I promise not to curse. Okay, it's legit. Okay, I've always been very impressed by you and how you navigate life. Quite honestly, I'm a little jealous. You have a confidence about you, and you might even call it swagger. When you finally decided to speak, I vividly remember you walking down the stairs, hands in the air, shouting, "E-money in the house!" I want what that kid has, I thought. You walk into a room and smile, and everyone smiles with you. You have off this light, and people are just happy to be in your presence. The way you continue to handle this year is beyond impressive. About 1 year ago, you were accepted at Burroughs. We were all so excited. You and your brother back at the same school, spreading that Enger awesomeness around. You'd be with your friends you made through baseball, Grovey, Carter, Tyler. You'd be with Jake and Ollie. What a summer of excitement we had planned. But not so fast. This stinking pandemic. Lockdown, mask up, isolation, baseball season was shortened. Hybrid learning? Bar mitzvah postponed, no Thanksgiving, no holiday gatherings. Bar mitzvah rescheduled. Only 20 guests? No party? Ugh. But you rarely complain about anything. You go with it. What was to take place in August was postponed until today. And as with this and everything else you've handled this year, with your super chill, go with the flow attitude. And not once did you try to jump out of a moving car like your brother did to avoid practice. The adjustment to this crazy thing called hybrid learning and Zoom had a few minor bumps and scrapes, but as you said a few weeks ago, when things with math started to click and we asked you about it, you simply answered, perseverance. I persevered. I am constantly amazed by you. You are the teammate everyone wishes they have, encouraging everyone, knowing what's going on with each play and calling it out. You're a great big cousin. I laughed so hard at the video Uncle Jimmy sent last week of little Ben asking that he just wanted to play with Jack and E. You are the student teachers love having in class with your positive attitude and your thirst to learn. You are a learner. You're always reading, you're watching, you're asking questions, you're wanting to know more. Your relationship with your brother warms my mama heart to the core. You are a thoughtful and loving son. The note you wrote me on the first day of school this year and you left on the counter makes me smile every time I see it. It's taped to a wall in my classroom and it helps me when I'm having a rough day, telling me to have the best day ever. That's my line, money. My wishes for you, when things get tough, and they will, maybe not 2020 pandemic tough, but remember you persevered. May you persevere always with grace. May you always bring with you that light inside you to every new and old situation. May you keep your wonderful, witty, naughty sense of humor. One word, mankini. Keep asking questions, keep starting conversations, keep wondering. May you always find the time to lay on the ground and look at the clouds and notice all the colors in the sunset. And remember how proud I am of you, and I love you more than bacon.
All right, so Elijah, we have a few things for you today. So the first is we have a certificate saying that today, Eliyahu Ben Yamin, that you became a bar mitzvah. Not that we ever doubted it, but this is your proof, should anyone ever ask you. We also have just a little gift for you from Temple Israel. And then we have a gift certificate for you that comes from Nifty in Israel. That is a step on the way to having a trip to Israel, which we hope that you will take one of these days, maybe with us. So there's two things I want to say. So first, I just want to say that, this year you were cheated out of a lot. But Rabbi Michael and I were talking this morning, and I sort of feel like we were cheated too. Because when Jack became bar mitzvah, like, we got to spend so much time together, and your mom was our daughter's teacher, and this year, because of the pandemic, we got to be with you, but it was not as much as we wanted. It wasn't. And even though your learning today was remarkable, every time you spoke and when you were chanting, I was like, we need more. So Elijah Enger, I'm telling you right now that this is not going to be the last time that you're going to be in the sanctuary. Okay, this is for real, not just because you're a super good singer and I want to get you on the bima again, but because we need more of you and we want to be able to keep learning with you because you are really remarkable. Jack, that doesn't mean you're off the hook either, though. You jumped out of the car. I understand. We're not going to put too much pressure on you, but I just want you to know we're going to give you a little break, but then we'll be calling you again. The other piece I just want to offer, like you said, in your Dvar Torah, there's so much that happens in this Torah portion. It's an amazing Torah portion. But one of the things that happens is a story that a lot of people know. That Moses goes up down the mountain and he gets the tablets and he gets so mad that he smashes them, right? But there's this question always of, well, what happens to the smashed tablets? What happens to all that brokenness? And the Midrash tells us that the Israelites took those broken tablets with them. That in fact their whole future is going to be built on that brokenness. Because we recognize that sometimes there are going to be things and times in our lives where things are going to go wrong and they're going to get ugly and crumbly and broken and not how we want them to be, but we don't just throw them away, we build our lives on those. And so this year has been kind of broken and kind of crumbly and kind of ugly, but this is going to be the year on which you're going to build the rest of your life. And you will always be this young man who remembers that his bar mitzvah was not exactly what it was supposed to be, but it is because of this year that you are going to be able to just build on that brokenness and be somehow even more whole and more complete and more fulfilled than I think we could have ever imagined. So we're very proud of what you've accomplished today and can't wait to see what you do next.
So I just want to remark on few brief things, and then we're going to bring it on home. The first thing is just how difficult it was to be on Zoom and all those other things. And what a profound pleasure it has been to study with your brother, to study with you, but to study as a family, all of you, to have the opportunity to sit down and open up the Torah. That's my takeaway, is a difficult year, but I got the sweetness of being able to sit and study with you. The second thing I just want to point out is, did you guys hear him read the Torah today on the Haftarah? Awesome. That was banging, son. That was great. So that's not something that happens all the time. People get up. My mother invented her own Yiddish word. It was called fumfit. To fumfit. You didn't do that at all. You were ringing like a bell. It was clear. It was beautiful. And that's a young man that is prepared. And we're told that as the Israelites went onto the promised land, they were told, be chazak ve'amatz, be strong and prepared. And you came strong and you were prepared. And for that you should be proud, as was your family, as is all of us. The last thing I just want to follow with is this, which is the idea that you sang and spoke prayers about the creation story, and he then spoke and said prayers about living in Egypt and being brought out of Egypt, and then you had this moment of revelation on Mount Sinai. And I just want to look to the back of the room, to the other generations, those who are watching on camera who couldn't be here, and to say, I realized as you were reading, and as you were with your whole heart and your whole voice giving over, that the redemption is what we see when we see you reading. It gives us hope and faith that in your generation, that kind of understanding of Judaism, of studying the sacred texts, is going to go on. And though, like Moses, we may not all go on, it's nice to know that as you get older, and God willing, you have a family someday, that this may be something that you pass on to your children. And you all may be sitting in the back of the room, but God willing, we'll all be together without masks, and we'll be singing, and we'll be crying, and we'll be hearing the next generation belt it out like you did today. Mazel tov, and way to go. Way to go.
So this is a moment that if your Aunt Cindy was here, she would be doing this. So instead, we're going to invite Aunt Cindy and everyone else to do this from home, but everyone who's here, we're going to participate in something together. So there's a blessing that we do that's called the priestly blessing. I'm going to ask everyone to rise, if you will. And so this is a blessing that we give on our most sacred occasions, and there's a tradition that sometimes people will go like this with their hands if you want to. You can do that, but I'm going to ask everyone to sort of like be like
Focus
you're giving him
in,
a big old hug over here, a big old invisible hug. However, we've learned to do this from afar as we say this blessing. May God bless you and keep you.
May God's light shine upon you as you go along your way.
May God's countenance be lifted over you. May you be granted with wholeness and with peace. Mazel tov, you're amazing. So you're going to stay standing. We're going to return our Torah to the ark. Rabbi Michael, will you be the Torah returner? This is going to be it. Ashlosha devarim,
Ashlosha devarim, Ashlosha, Shlosha devarim, Olam, Olam, Omein. Ashlosha devarim, Ashlosha devarim,
Ashlosha, Shlosha devarim, Olam, Olam, Omein. And we'll continue now with the words of the Aleinu, which are on the bottom of page 282. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'tet birula li'yotzer b'reshit, shelo asanu k'goyei ha'artzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo samchakenu kahem, v'gor aleinu ככל המונה, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד. So even though we are here honoring this time of joy, so too we are remembering those who we've lost and who we wish could be here with us today. And so particularly today, Elijah, we are thinking of Bill Reynolds, of Edith Scheinbein, Jake Scheinbein, Ruth Enger, and Harry Enger. So thinking of those and thinking of all that we've lost, we join in the words of the Mourner's Kaddish on page 294.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, ba'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei dekudesha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, tamiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei Shlama Rabbah min Shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen. Oseh Shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh Shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen.
May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. Oseh Shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh Shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. So we are delighted that everyone could join us today. And so we have one final blessing or two before we leave, and that is a kiddush and motzi over wine and bread. And we're going to invite the Engers back on up to lead us in that.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Here we go.
Oh, hey, Adele, Adele, are you going to sing?
Did you see Mark totally do the whole Torah for her? Yeah, Mark was reading his own commentary. It was so much fun. You should be in good health. Many years. Thank you. Almost there.